Welcome to India Today, SoSouth. I'm Sarah Fazal. Big development in the state of Karnataka. And let me tell you, while we find the Karnataka CM cornered by the allegations of several scams and corruptions, especially the Muda, I have with me my colleague Mukesh. We're going to be discussing about yet another news that's come to the forefront, which has cornered the Karnataka government. And speaking about that, Siddaramaiah on Monday announced that he had directed the Karnataka Public Service Commission, we're talking about the KPSC, to reconduct the Gazetted Probationers Examination, that is the KPSC exam. The decision has been taken in light of reports that have emerged. Now, what are these reports? They have stated that inappropriate Kannada translations of these question papers. Now, soon as this has come to the forefront, we had our CM who took to Platform X, and this is what he wrote about the entire incident. He says, in the light of reports of inappropriate Kannada translation of questions in the KPSC Gazetted Probationers Examination, I have directed the KPSC to reconduct this exam within 2 months so that, we can ensure all fairness to the candidates. Those responsible for these lapses have been relieved of their duties. The upcoming examination will be conducted with utmost responsibility and accountability following all due diligence. And he said that we will, uphold the integrity of our recruitment processes. But Mukesh, now this is where we need to discuss about what is this entire story that has been grilling in the background for over a couple of months now, right? And now we get to know that we find an error in the state gazetted probationers examination. What is this error and how did it come to the forefront?
See, there were allegations, there were several allegations that, there are a lot of corrections, in the translations from English question paper to Kannada question papers.
Yeah.
In the candidates, who were more than 1.3 lakh in numbers, had, written the examination, out of which around more than 90,000 people
Correct.
were from the Kannada medium.
Yeah.
So there were reports that around more than 60 errors were in the
Paper.
question paper, due to which around more than 60 to 90,000 candidates got affected. The KDA, short of Karnataka Development Authority, had urged the state government to take action against the staff of the KPSC who are responsible for the error in a translation of questions from English to Kannada. These errors were spotted in question papers of the preliminary examination conducted on August 27 for filling up of 350 posts of gazetted probationary officers.
Just before we move on and you explain to me about what were the reasons, right, behind whatever we are seeing today for them to reconduct and, push it even further. We know that we had the Karnataka government coming up with a proposal for reservations being given to locals, right, in managerial and non-managerial positions. They had proposed that bill. Then they also spoke about, that the boards in the state of Karnataka, business establishments, will have to have 60% of it in Kannada language. So much to support the cause for Kannadigas, so much to push the language of Kannada in the state of Karnataka. And here we have such a big lapse in the form of the KPSC exams. So, Mukesh, if you can tell us the reasons behind this.
So definitely. So, the reason why the state government took the decision was because of the outrage against the KPSC for poor and erroneous translation of questions from English to Kannada in the question papers. On social media, there were trends like KPSC Mosa, KPSC re-exam were trending. Finally, the CM today took a decision to conduct the re-exam. Now, let's, take, that is shocking part is, there is suspicion that artificial intelligence tools were used for the translation from English to Kannada, and later some reports also suggested that they used just the Google translation for the conversion, but later the KPSC issued a clarification that none of that took place, but there were professional translators who were hired to conduct the translations, but despite that such errors have taken place.
So, the question that we're basically talking about here today is that why were these questions not set in Kannada and then translated into English, right? Because artificial intelligence tools, that is the suspicion over here that they've used it, which means that it's not authentic, these translations that take place, which means that the questions that may have been translated would have been unintelligible for the people giving those exams. Now, when we talk about the protest bit of it, we also need to understand this, Mukesh, that last week some of the students resorted to protest demanding postponement of these exams. Now, these protesting candidates demanded 3 months to prepare, since they said that these exams have not been held for more than 6 years now.
True.
And finally, when we've been given this opportunity, we find an error in these papers. Now, even the BJP has supported these candidates' protest. If you can tell us a little bit about what did the BJP do in this aspect?
See, exams were conducted on August 27th. That was on Tuesday. That is the weekday. So usually such competitive exams are happened usually on Sundays. But as there was no time and there are multiple delays happening, the state government took to its stand that let's not delay it further and keep it on 27th. But some of the organizations, including the BJP, supported the candidates who were demanding for the postponement of the exam. Finally, the exams took place on 27th. The defense of the state government was that there is no time for the next 2 months. For that, there is no weekend available, there is no Sunday available to conduct the exams. That's why they went ahead and conducted the examinations.
Right. So, and we also had the BJP Yuva Morcha National President Tejasvi Surya, who met the governor of Karnataka, Thawarchand Gehlot, and petitioned him for the postponement of these exams. Now, let's keep in mind that these two are completely different reasons for why the BJP has sought postponement and why the Congress government has advanced the exam dates, right? Clearly, if we have to put it this way, Mahesh, can we say that the Karnataka government of here, Siddaramaiah government, is really messed up in the matters of the question papers being translated from English to Kannada rather than focusing on it being in Kannada in the first place?
First it was NEET, now the KPSC. I don't know what is happening. And the chief minister in the tweet has said that the people who were, responsible have been discharged the duty. How can you say just discharge of the duty? When the lives of 1.3 lakh people are involved, and you always go on to say that Kannada Nela, Kannada Jala, what you are doing? When it comes to Kannada, you always say that Kannada is our priority.
Right.
You want to bring in a bill, where you want 60% of the maximum Kannada literature, Kannada letters on the name boards.
Correct.
And you are planning to bring in a, Kannada reservation for Kannadigas. And then you say, first the question paper was, prepared in English, then it was translated in Kannada. Are there any professors who can properly translate, from English to Kannada?
True.
And first of all, the question arises, why there was no question paper separately in the Kannada?
True.
And main importantly, Sara, here, the CM says only they have been discharged from duty. Why no serious action?
Why no serious action?
And why not name and shame them? Who are these people? Are the translators are being charged?
Yeah.
Why not take action on the KPSC examination in charge? Even the director also, the minister involved is also.
True.
Aren't their job to, look after all this? All this preparation began in April, way back in April. Why there was no proper inspection? Why there was no proper meeting? And who will be answering for these 1.31 lakh people? And the main culprits here is, the main, victims in this whole examination is the Kannada people, the rural people who are come from Kannada background. See, some of the students went ahead and said that when they could not understand the Kannada, they had to go and read in English, then try and understand. But what happens if you don't know English at all?
Absolutely.
This issue will happen only in the, majorly who have studied from 1st standard to 12th standard in Kannada and they know only Kannada. That's why mainly the Kannada question papers are prepared in Kannada, right?
True.
And I'll just tell you, Sara, interestingly, some of the, the errors, some of the major 60 errors were there, which marks up to 120 marks.
Right.
This is a question of life of every student. They wait for 5 to 6 years to prepare for this exam and they end up with this. I'll tell you some of the, errors that has been mentioned on social media. In English, there was a word called drainage system. That is in Kannada, that the meaning is Nadi Vyavasthe. In the KPSC translation, it has said Charandi Vyavasthe. So these are the, state assembly and it was translated as Rajya Sabha. Dude, union territories, Rajya Kshetra, Shrine, Samadhi, Reality, Riyaiti, Fertility Rate, Jana Shakti Dara, incorrect option, Sariyada Aike, Endemic, ಅಳಿವಿನಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿರುವ ವೇಗವಾಗಿ heaviest ವೇಗವಾಗಿ. What is these are the errors.
So can we say, Mahesh, that clearly this entire defense by the, the KPSC board saying that, no sort of tools of AI was used to translate this. Our specific department of translators have done it, that has been authorized by the commission. Clearly, when we see these words before us, it doesn't seem like it. It just seems to be another story altogether. And so much so for promoting Kannada, for standing up for the culture of Kannadigas, for saying that our language is our pride, and, for proposing so much this year in terms of the reservation bill and for the, signboards to be in Kannada. And then we have our own government messing it up for us over here. And we're talking about a state examination here. We're not talking about an examination on the national level for them to say, oops, we made a mistake.
Sarah, I'll tell you, these KPSC exams are held for the, post like Tahsildar, Deputy SP.
Yeah.
These are important posts. It's almost equivalent to UPSC in the state level examinations.
Right.
When you mess up an examination then there raises a serious issue on the entire KPSC machinery.
Right.
We had just a few months ago, the NEET fiasco happened. We understood, there are several, problems in the examination machinery. They could have learned from it. They could have understood. They could have done a scrutiny
and we
to
also
understand.
Sorry to cut you off, Mahesh. We also know that, while we were going through these several reports about these erroneous translations over here, we also heard that for many of them, because of the age limit, it is their last attempt.
Exactly.
Right?
There was a huge protest. There were several memorandums to submitted to government of Karnataka to at least extend 2 years so that they become eligible. See, understand, such exams has to be conducted every year, but that doesn't happen due to various issues.
Yeah.
And are conducted only in around 5 to 6 years. But when it happens, all the batch of students can't take examinations. Right. So there are repeated requests for extension of age limit. Of course, finally government had given an extension of 2 years. But when this happens, we never know when next exam will take place. True. Even though CM has announced that it will happen within 2 months, but we don't know how the next exam will take place. And understand the mentality and psyche of the students here.
Absolutely.
Again, you will have to go through all the syllabus. Again, that pressure, the family pressure. Many of the thousands of students have left their studies and only waited for this particular day of examination so that they can do their best. And understand that it is only the prelims. Say first they will have to pass on to the prelims only around 5,500, then move on to the next main exams. Then comes the interview phase. If you mess up in the prelim stage, I don't know what next is going to happen.
My colleague Mahesh Chitnis is giving us an entire outline of what has really happened when it comes to the KPSC gazetted probationers examinations. And let me remind you, after the postponement of over last 4 months, ever since the notification came up in Feb about this exam to happen, finally when it takes place, we find such a huge lapse on part of the Karnataka government, who simply, shunned it off, saying that the officers have been relieved who were, responsible for this. And we will ensure that the exam will be conducted in the next 2 months. The question that India Today, SoSouth, stands to ask you today is this even pardonable for the Karnataka government to come forward and make this kind of an error when it comes to an exam that is held finally after 6 years, ever since COVID, and we find such a huge lapse? Let us know about your opinions about this in the comment section below. I am Sarah Fazil with my colleague
Mahesh Chitnis.
You're watching India Today, SoSouth. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.